Look at the door you just walked through. You turn the key. You push the heavy wood open. You step inside. You let your bag fall to the floor. You drop your keys on the table. You take off your shoes. You finally close the door to the loud world outside. The house is completely quiet. There is no one yelling. There is no traffic noise. There is no boss asking for more work. It is just you, the walls and the silence. And yet, what happens inside your head? The room is quiet, but your mind is a loud engine. The room is still, but your chest feels heavy. Your heart beats a little too fast. You sit on the edge of your bed. You look around the silent room. Most people call this feeling peace. They call it peace because there is no war happening in your house. Because there is no angry argument right now. Because the television is turned off and the phone screen is dark. But you and I both know the hard truth. You do not feel peaceful. You feel entirely empty. You feel completely exhausted. You feel like something huge is missing, even if you cannot name what it is. This is the great sickness of our modern time. We have built safe lives that look very quiet from the outside, but inside our minds, everything is broken into little pieces. We have a simple English word for this feeling. When the loud noise stops, we call it peace. But I am here to tell you today that this kind of peace is a lie. It is a very small, weak word, and it is failing you every single day. Listen to me carefully. It is not your fault. It is not that you are ungrateful. You look at your life and you think you should be happy. You have a safe roof over your head. You have warm food in your kitchen. You do not live in a war zone. The world looks at you and says you have peace. So when you sit alone in the dark and feel a deep ache in your soul, you feel guilty. You tell yourself to stop complaining. You tell yourself to just relax and enjoy the quiet moments. But the heavy guilt you feel is a trap. You are suffering from an invisible drift, a slow drift in human language. Over hundreds of years, we lost a massive, beautiful idea. We traded a chest full of gold for a cheap plastic copy. Think about a beautiful stone bridge connecting two cities over a deep river. One day, a terrible storm comes. The wind blows hard. The heavy rain falls for weeks. The river rises high and tears the stone bridge apart. The bridge falls into the dark water. Now, the two cities are completely separated. Many years later, the storm finally stops. The wind dies down. The sky turns clear blue. The water becomes flat and calm. People stand on the edge of the river. They look at the flat water. They say to each other, "Look, we finally have peace. The storm is gone. Everything is quiet, but the stone bridge is still broken. The two cities are still separated. You cannot cross the deep river. You cannot see your good friends on the other side. Nothing has been fixed. Nothing has been rebuilt. It is just quiet." This is exactly what the modern world calls peace today. We think peace is simply the complete absence of trouble. If two friends stop speaking to each other because they are angry, they do not fight anymore. The yelling stops. But their deep friendship is completely dead. We call that peace. If a husband and wife look at their phones instead of each other, there is no argument. The dining room is very quiet, but their marriage is cold, lonely, and broken. We have completely confused the absence of bad things with the presence of good things. We think 0 is a positive number. But 0 is just an empty space. This cheap definition of peace is destroying our hearts. It makes us think that if we just avoid difficult conversations, we have won the game. We hide in our quiet houses. We wear heavy headphones to block out the real world. We run away from messy human problems. We build high walls around our soft hearts so no one can ever hurt us. And then we sit alone behind those walls and wonder why we feel so dead inside. We feel this way because we have lost the true meaning of the word. But thousands of years ago, there was a different word, a beautiful word, spoken by desert nomads, by ancient kings, and by holy prophets looking up at the night sky. This word is the beating heart of the entire biblical story. You have probably heard it before. You might know it as a simple greeting. That ancient word is shalom. If you think shalom simply means peace, if you think it just means a friendly hello or a quiet afternoon with no loud noises, you are missing its radical vision. You are missing the very thing your tired soul is thirsty for. Shalom is not the absence of a dark storm. It is the hard work of rebuilding the bridge. Shalom is not ignoring the argument at the dinner table. It is the painful, beautiful work of opening your heart and putting the broken marriage back together. Shalom is not an empty, silent room. It is a room full of warm light, loud laughter, and total wholeness. To understand how we lost this treasure and how we can get it back, we have to look very closely at the ancient roots of our language. We have to do a little bit of word surgery. Let us examine the common English word we use today, the word peace. Where does this familiar word come from? It comes directly from the Old Latin word pax. In the ancient Roman Empire, pax was a very specific and strict idea. It did not mean a warm, soft heart. It meant a hard legal contract. It meant an agreement to stop killing each other. The Romans had a famous historical concept called the Roman peace, but this peace was built entirely with sharp metal swords and heavy shields. The empire looked at its enemies and made a very cold deal. They said, if you stop fighting us and if you pay your heavy taxes, we will not burn your city down. We will give you pax. Our modern idea of peace started as a cold political arrangement. It was forced from the outside. It was completely artificial. Think of this kind of peace as a heavy iron lid placed tightly on a pot of boiling water. The water inside the dark pot is dangerously hot. It is jumping and rolling. The heat is terrible. But the empire puts a massive iron lid on top of the pot. From the outside of the kitchen, the pot looks completely still. It looks completely safe. But underneath that lid, the steam is trapped. The pressure is building higher and higher. It is a fake stillness. Our English word peace is just managing the dangerous pressure. It is sweeping sharp, broken glass far under the soft living room rug. You cannot see the dangerous glass anymore. The room looks perfectly clean. But if you walk in the dark without your shoes on, your feet will still bleed. This peace is only a painkiller that hides the deep sickness in your body. It is not a cure that heals the actual disease. But now we must look across the desert at the ancient Hebrew word, shalom. The letters of this word come from an older, deeper root word in the ancient language. That root word is shalom. Shalom is an action word. It does not mean to sit quietly and do nothing. It means to make something completely whole. It means to take something that is broken into many sharp pieces and carefully, patiently put it back together again. It means to restore what is missing. It means taking chaos and turning it into a beautiful order. If a shepherd has 100 sheep and one small sheep runs away into the dark forest, the flock is not complete. A piece is missing. The shepherd does not sit by the fire and enjoy the quiet night. He goes out into the dangerous dark trees. He searches carefully through the cold mountains. He finds the lost, crying sheep and lifts it onto his strong shoulders. When he carries it home and puts that one sheep back with the others, the flock finally has shalom. The group is entirely whole. Again, nothing is missing. Nothing is lost. Shalom was also used in ancient villages as a powerful word for paying a heavy debt. Imagine you are driving a wooden cart and you accidentally break your neighbor's wooden fence. You owe your neighbor a serious debt. Saying you are sorry is a nice thing to do, but an apology does not fix the broken wood. A kind smile does not keep his animals safe. To bring shalom to the situation, you have to buy new wood. You have to bring your heavy hammer and iron nails. You have to sweat in the hot afternoon sun and build the fence again with your own 2 hands. You have to pay back exactly what was taken away. You restore the missing value. Do not just stop fighting with your neighbor over the broken fence. You actively rebuild the relationship and the wood until everything is completely whole. This brilliant etymology changes everything about how we read this ancient word. Shalom is not an iron cage that traps the boiling water. Shalom is turning off the hot fire underneath so the water can become pure, still, and cool. Shalom is not sweeping the dangerous broken glass under the rug. Shalom is getting down on your hands and knees in the dirt. It is picking up every single sharp piece. It is sweeping the floor perfectly clean, and then it is taking those broken pieces and building a beautiful new glass window. True peace requires hard, sweaty work. It is a positive, active energy in the world. The ancient writers of the Bible did not view peace as a lack of trouble. They viewed it as the presence of complete health. They viewed it as every single piece of the universe working together exactly as the Creator designed it to work. Think about a beautiful symphony orchestra sitting on a large stage. There are 50 different musicians wearing black suits. Some hold large wooden string instruments. Some hold bright brass horns. Some sit behind huge, heavy drums. If they all sit perfectly still and completely silent, they are not fighting with each other. There is no conflict, but they are also not making any music. That is the Roman peace. It is just a quiet room. But when the master leader raises his hands, and every single musician plays their unique notes together in perfect time, the room fills with glorious, rich sound. All the different, separate parts join together to create one massive, beautiful song. That song is Shalom. It is a loud, busy, vibrant harmony. Your modern mind is absolutely desperate for this harmony. You do not want an empty, silent room. You want a magnificent symphony. You want all the broken parts of your daily life, your hard work, your complex family, and your heavy heart to play in perfect time. But right now, everything feels disconnected and broken. Your work, life fights a bitter war against your family life. Your secret dreams fight against your daily reality. Your physical body is extremely tired, and your mind is running far too fast. You have important pieces missing. You have heavy debts unpaid inside your own soul. You are trying very hard to find pax when you actually need shalom. You cannot find this profound wholeness by simply closing your tired eyes and wishing for a quiet day. You have to move your feet. You have to act. You have to step directly into the mess and start putting the broken pieces together. But this is the scary part of the journey. Moving into the brokenness feels deeply dangerous. It is much easier to just stay silent in your safe room and avoid the hard work of rebuilding. This is why so many of us fail before we even begin. We want the beautiful music, but we refuse to pick up our heavy instruments. We want the beautiful music, but we refuse to pick up our heavy instruments. To get from a quiet, broken room to a beautiful, loud symphony, you must walk down a very long, dark hallway. I call this dark hallway, the corridor. The corridor is the hard, painful space between your broken life today and the true wholeness tomorrow. It is full of difficult conversations that make your hands shake. It is full of honest apologies that hurt your pride. It is full of sweating, crying, and putting heavy pieces back together. Many people stand at the door of the corridor. They look into the dark shadows. They become very afraid. They turn around and run fast back to their fake, quiet rooms. They choose a broken, empty life. Because it is easy, but human history is filled with a clear lesson about this choice. Let me tell you two stories about this dark hallway. Thousands of years ago, there was a very famous king. He ruled a rich, hot desert kingdom. His name actually meant peace. He had absolutely everything a human could ever want. He had tall mountains of shiny gold. He had giant stone palaces with beautiful wooden floors. He had hundreds of fast horses, and most importantly, he had no enemies. Attacking his high walls, his borders were completely safe. From the outside, his kingdom looked like the perfect picture of success. He had the ultimate Roman peace. He had perfect, quiet safety. But this famous king made a terrible mistake. He refused to walk through the hard corridor of true wholeness. He wanted to make his kingdom safe without doing the difficult work of building real trust with his neighbors. So he took a fast shortcut. He married hundreds of daughters from the kings of other nations. It was a clever political trick. If he married the daughter of his enemy, the enemy would not attack his city. It was a cold, calculated deal. It was completely artificial peace. He bought his safety with money and marriages. He had no physical wars outside his walls. But inside his giant palace, his life was completely broken. His inner heart was divided into hundreds of tiny, sharp pieces. He brought many different foreign idols and conflicting beliefs into his home to keep his wives happy. His inner life became a chaotic, spinning storm. He was famous for being wise, but he lost his own mind. He wrote a famous book at the end of his sad life. In this book, he said everything he built was completely empty. He said it was like trying to catch the wind with your bare hands. He had all the money and zero conflict, but he had absolutely no shalom. The moment he closed his eyes and died, his giant, quiet kingdom exploded, split into two angry halves. A terrible, bloody war began. His fake peace fell apart immediately because it was never truly whole. He had everything, but he failed because he refused the hard work of true restoration. Now, look at a very different story from history. Hundreds of years after that rich king died, his people lost everything. A massive, violent empire came from the east. This terrible empire burned the beautiful capital city to the ground. They knocked down the giant stone temple. They took thousands of poor, crying people away from their burning homes. They forced them to walk across a deadly, hot desert for many months. The people were taken as prisoners to a strange foreign city called Babylon. These poor prisoners had absolutely nothing left. They had no gold. They had no homes. They had no freedom. They sat in the dirty dust by the foreign rivers, and they cried out loud. They wanted to hate the strange city of Babylon. They wanted to fight back with sharp swords, or they wanted to sit silently in the dark and just wait for God to destroy their powerful enemies. They were living in the exact opposite of peace. They were living in total fear and chaos, but a wise, ancient prophet sent them a very strange letter. The letter contained a shocking command. The prophet did not tell them to fight a bloody war. He did not tell them to wait quietly in their dark rooms. He told them to walk directly into the difficult corridor. The letter said, "Build houses and live in them. Plant beautiful green gardens and eat the fresh food. Marry and have babies. And most importantly, work hard for the shalom of the dark city that captured you. Because if the strange city finds shalom, you will finally find shalom." It was a radical, crazy idea. They had no political power. They were slaves. But they started to rebuild life inside the terrible mess. They picked up heavy stones in a foreign land and built new walls. They planted tiny seeds in foreign dirt and grew tall trees. They learned to bless the people who hated them. They did not have external peace. The empire was still in charge of their lives. But they slowly built true wholeness from the gray ashes. They created strong, loving communities. They wrote down their ancient stories on long scrolls. They kept their beautiful culture completely alive. They succeeded in the darkest place on earth because they accepted the heavy tools of restoration. Look very closely at these two different paths. The rich king had every advantage in the whole world. He had an empty, quiet palace, but he completely avoided the painful corridor of inner wholeness. He chose the cheap, easy shortcut. His life ended in dust, sadness, and division. The poor prisoners had absolutely nothing. They were trapped in a loud, scary, foreign place. But they walked bravely into the heavy work of rebuilding. They created deep, beautiful harmony in the middle of a terrible nightmare. The struggle is not a punishment. The heavy lifting is not a mistake. When you face a broken relationship, a broken career, or a broken mind, the pain of fixing it is not your enemy. The hard work is a necessary hallway. It is the only real way to travel from the fake quiet of a dead room to the deep, beautiful music of the ancient shalom. You have to walk through the heavy, dark wood to find the bright light. You must build your green garden in the exact place where the fire burned everything down. Let us leave the ancient deserts and the burning cities behind. Let us travel across thousands of years of history and walk directly into your real life right now. I want to talk about your burning city. I want to talk about the ashes in your own mind, because I know you are not a king with a giant stone palace. You are not a prisoner in ancient Babylon. You are simply a tired human being living in the modern world. You are trying very hard to hold your complicated life together, and you are exhausted. I know exactly where you go when the exhaustion becomes too heavy. I know about the quiet moments at 2 o'clock in the morning. The rest of the house is finally asleep. The deep, heavy dark covers the windows. You pull the warm blanket off your tired legs. You walk slowly out of your bedroom. Your bare feet step softly on the cold floor. You walk into the dark kitchen. You do not turn on the bright ceiling light. You just stand there in the pale shadows. You lean your heavy elbows against the hard kitchen counter. You rest your head in your hands. You breathe in the cool air, and you let out a long, shaky sigh. In that silent moment, you are completely alone with your own mind. There is no one there to impress. There is no boss to make happy. It is just you and the overwhelming silence. But the silence is incredibly loud. It shouts at you about all the things that are broken in your life. It shouts about the relationships that are falling apart. It shouts about the deep fear. You hide behind a friendly smile. Every single day, you stand in the dark kitchen and you feel a terrible ache in your chest. It is a deep physical pain. You feel like you are failing. You look at your life and you see 100 tiny, sharp pieces of broken glass scattered on the floor. You try so hard every day to sweep them under the rug. You try to keep the room looking clean. You pretend everything is perfectly fine. You work incredibly hard to maintain the fake, Roman peace. You just want the loud noises to go away. But sweeping the broken glass under the rug takes a massive amount of hidden energy. You are tired because you are fighting a secret war inside your own body. You are trying to ignore the deep human need for true wholeness. You are trying to survive on a very cheap, fake peace, and it is slowly starving you to death. I want to speak directly to your tired heart right now. Please listen to my words very carefully. The heavy sadness you feel standing in the dark kitchen is not a sign of weakness. It is not a moral failure. It does not mean you are a bad person. It does not mean you are broken beyond repair. Your sadness is actually a beautiful, healthy signal. It is an alarm bell ringing deep inside your soul. Your soul is highly intelligent. Your soul knows that you were created for something much bigger than just surviving. You were designed for perfect, vibrant harmony. You were made for shalom. The pain you feel is the deep homesickness of a traveler who has forgotten the way back home. You are aching for a wholeness you have never truly seen. Your spirit knows it belongs in a loud, beautiful symphony, not in a quiet, empty room. When you cry in the dark, you are grieving the missing sheep. You are grieving the broken fence. You are grieving the complete harmony that the universe is supposed to have. I want to validate the long, hard waiting you are enduring. I know you have prayed for the dark clouds to finally break apart. You have looked at the broken stone bridge in your life and wondered if it will ever be crossed again. You feel like you are walking through the dark corridor I talked about earlier, and you cannot see the exit. The walls are cold, the floor is hard. You are afraid you will be trapped in the messy, broken middle forever. But you must hear the simple truth. The hallway is just a hallway. It is a place of movement. It is a place of transition. It is not a prison cell. It is a path that leads somewhere entirely new. The deep pain of facing your broken pieces is the very first step toward healing them. When you finally stop sweeping the sharp glass under the rug, you admit that the glass is broken. That honest admission hurts. It brings tears to your eyes. But it is also the moment the real healing finally begins. You do not have to fix everything tonight. You do not have to rebuild the giant stone bridge before the sun comes up. You only have to stop hiding from the brokenness. You only have to stand in the dark kitchen. Look at the empty space in your life and say the truth out loud. You must say, "This is broken and I want it to be whole. I want to invite true shalom into the messy chaos of my actual life." You are incredibly brave for just waking up and facing the world every single day. Your exhaustion is completely valid. Your tears are completely understood. The universe sees you standing in the dark. You are not forgotten. In the shadows, the long night is painfully cold, but the morning is definitely coming. The slow, warm light of dawn will break through the kitchen window, and when the light finally hits your tired face, you will have a choice to make. You will have to decide what to do with the sharp pieces scattered at your feet. Let us imagine the morning sun is slowly rising outside your house right now. The warm light of dawn is creeping across your kitchen floor. The long night is finally over. You look down at your cold, bare feet resting on the floor. You see the invisible broken pieces of your life scattered around you. You know you cannot sweep them away anymore. You know. The cheap Roman peace is a dangerous lie. True shalom is waiting for you to pick up the heavy tools. You are no longer afraid of the dark hallway. You are ready to make things completely whole. But sweeping up a broken life feels like a massive mountain to climb. You are still very tired from the long, dark night. If you try to fix everything at the exact same time, you will fail. You will drop the heavy tools and run back to your fake room. The ancient symphony is not created in one single second. It is created one careful note at a time. True wholeness is built through tiny choices. It is built through small actions that seem completely unimportant. I want you to make a tiny promise to yourself. I want you to take exactly 3 physical steps tomorrow morning. These steps are so small that you cannot fail. They require zero heavy lifting, but they will start the powerful engine of shalom inside your tired soul. Listen closely to these simple instructions. First, when you wake up tomorrow morning, do not touch your glowing phone. Leave the noisy digital world alone for just 10 minutes. Instead, pick a specific chair in your house. Choose a quiet chair near a window where the morning light comes inside. This chair is your safe starting point. By choosing a physical space, you tell your wandering mind that you are ready to do the work. You are no longer running away. You are staying in the room. Second, I want you to hold a warm cup of coffee or tea in your 2 hands. Feel the smooth surface. Feel the deep heat traveling from the warm liquid directly into your cold skin. Look closely at the cup. A cup is a beautiful symbol of peace. It is a solid container that makes hot water safe and useful. As you hold the warm cup, think of exactly one single broken thing in your life. Do not think of 10 things. Do not think of your messy career. Think of one tiny, sharp piece of glass. Maybe it is an angry word you said to your partner. Find one small piece. Third, I want you to send one short, honest message to that exact person. You do not have to write a massive book. You do not have to cross the deep river and rebuild the entire stone bridge today. You only have to pick up a single stone. Type a very simple sentence. Tell them you are sorry for the sharp word. Tell them you miss their voice. Hit the send button. That tiny action is the bright spark of shalom. You are taking a chaotic relationship and carefully putting the first piece back together. You are actively moving into the mess. When you hit that send button, you are becoming a master builder. You are acting exactly like the ancient shepherd searching for the one lost sheep. 3. You are acting like the poor prisoner planting a green garden in the ashes of Babylon. You are stepping out of the fake Roman peace. You are picking up your instrument and joining the symphony. You are making your universe whole again. You do not have to walk this difficult road alone. There are millions of other tired people standing in their dark kitchens right now. They are staring at their own broken pieces. They are crying silent tears and wishing for the morning light. They believe the terrible lie that an empty room is the best they can get. You have the power to change their lives today. You can hand them the beautiful, ancient tools of true restoration. If these simple words brought a warm light to your heart today, please share this specific message with someone who needs to hear it. Send it to the friend who is hiding behind high walls. Helping them find their own wholeness is a powerful act of shalom. When you help rebuild their bridge, you are healing your own soul. You are proving that we are all connected in this human struggle. I invite you to officially join our growing community of builders. Please subscribe to Simple Truth. By pressing that subscribe button, you are telling the universe that you are ready to learn and grow. Please like this video so it can reach more people trapped in the cold shadows. Every single action you take helps push this deep message further into the dark and broken world. Your life is not supposed to be a quiet, dead zero. Your life is supposed to be a brilliant, vibrant song. The broken glass on your floor is not the end of your story. It is the raw material for your beautiful new window. Pick up the heavy pieces. Pay the old debt. Step completely out of the fake safety and walk bravely into the messy, wonderful work of true restoration. The glorious symphony is finally waiting for you to play your part. The whole world is waiting for your true peace.